We're going to get started. Welcome to your second FYE of the fall quarter. It's the last one of the fall. Congrats. You will get one study hall hour for this. So cheers to that. Here's something, usually I want to do reminders at the end, but this one I really want you to remember, so I'm going to tell it to you first. When you go to the library and you swipe in, you know how the study hall monitor is right by 1 South, right? You absolutely do not have to stay in 1 South. The biggest feedback that we get is it's loud in there, it's hard to study, I get it. Swipe in, you can go somewhere else. You can go anywhere else in that library. So let's make sure that we're all aware of that so that we don't hear any more complaints about being too loud. There's plenty of quiet spaces. But, okay, so today we put an awesome program together. They have put an awesome program together. We have two individuals that are going to be presenting to us on alcohol, nutrition, and performance. I will definitely let them introduce themselves a little bit more in depth, but Jason Klar, if you don't know who that is, he oversees sports performance. And then we have Katie Napper, who oversees our performance nutrition department. So they put a lot of work and time into making this program for you. The very least that you can do is give them your full attention for the next hour. They've got fun props here that I'm sure you'll get to play with. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
All right, there it is. I'm going to go ahead and get started. First, just wanted to say that we're really happy that this FYE happens sort of at the beginning of your career at Northwestern. I think you guys have probably experienced already that when you come to college, everything about your eating changes. Where you eat changes. You're used to eating maybe at the kitchen table, and now you eat at the cafeteria or at Nona Joe's. Some of those like favorite recipes that your parents made, they're not here anymore. Some of the, you used to eat after school, and now the timing can be all different with your food, and so it's just, and that's common, that's normal, that's kind of just a new adjustment, but we're really happy that we have the chance to kind of talk to you about things to think about as you go ahead and make that adjustment. So that's what we're going to spend time talking about today. And the first thing we want to make sure that you all know how to do is build a winning plate. So some of you guys have had team talks already where you've met with a dietitian and learned how to build a winning plate, but if you haven't, then it's really important that we cover all that so that everybody in this room knows how to build a winning plate. So, a couple things that we use. Winning plates are pictures of plates that basically help you as an elite athlete tailor what you're fueling with to the intensity of the day's training. So there's some pictures that I'm going to show you in a second. Some of you guys have the cards on your backpack, so you can refer to these pictures a lot. That's awesome. A few things to keep in mind. Number one is when you are fueling as an elite athlete, you are thinking about eating for a purpose. So any old, person who's walking around at Northwestern maybe doesn't need to eat with a purpose like you guys do, all right? Maybe they just eat whatever because it tastes good, or they eat whatever because it's really convenient, or they eat whatever because it's cheap, or they eat whatever it is. But you guys as elite athletes have a responsibility to kind of take care of your body and your health, and you want to do those things. So you maybe look at food a little bit differently. So perhaps you would say like, okay guys, has anyone had the Boom Chicka Pop at the Fuel Bar? Anyone at all? Oh, plenty. Okay, so it's very popular, right? So because you're fueling like an elite athlete, you not only say, man, is this Boom Chicka Pop delicious? I totally love it. But the other thing you might say is, wow, this is a really good source of whole grain. It's a fiber that's going to be really good for my intestines. As you get a little bit older, you might say there's fiber in it that's going to be really good for keeping my cholesterol levels low so that I don't have heart disease. Okay? But for now, healthy intestines are really important for immune health, and if you're sick, you can't play. So think about that the next time you pick up the Boom Chicka Pop. So let's do like maybe one more. Okay? So the average person on the street might pick up an apple and say, okay, I'm going to eat an apple because it's healthy, because it tastes good, right? But you guys as an elite athlete, you have the chance to eat for a purpose. You can take a bite of this apple, and because you talk to your sports dietitians, know that there's quercetin in the skin. What the heck is quercetin? Quercetin is a plant chemical in the skin that helps with circulation. It's really good for your arteries and your veins and pushing blood around in your body. So that's really very helpful for your athletics because you want to get oxygen to your muscles as fast as you can. You want to get nutrients to your muscles as fast as you can so you can perform great on the field. So that's sort of what eating for a purpose is. And as you guys hang out with us a little bit longer through your senior year, you'll be able to pick up more and more foods and say those types of things. So that's one of our goals as performance nutrition people. The other thing to think about is the 80-20 rule. So who knows what this is? Yes.
It's like you eat like well or you eat the right, like what you should be dealing with 80% of the time or 80% of what you're eating and then 20 is
Yeah. So you didn't hear it all the way in the back, but 80% of the time we're fueling for a purpose. We're able to look at the food that we take and we're able to say this is going to help my performance or this is going to help my health because fill in the blank. Okay? 20% of the time we eat because it tastes good. We eat because it's convenient. We eat because we want it. We eat because of all those things. And it's really important that we take that 20% and we actually do that. Because sometimes, Northwestern, everybody wants an A++, right? So why do 80-20 when I can do like 95-5? What happens, we find that people that try to do 95-5, it's just not a sustainable way of living as a college athlete, and so they feel like they're really restricting themselves, they feel like they're really depriving themselves, and that only lasts so long before they kind of freak out and want to eat like a whole cake or like a half a gallon of ice cream or something like that. So it's important that we give ourselves that 20% as we get regularly versus not at all and then a bunch, because our body doesn't really like that. Our body really likes consistency. Okay. So let's look at the pictures of the plates. Okay, cool. So here is, you guys have seen a couple different versions of the plates. These are the plates that have all the pictures of food on it so that it kind of gives you some ideas about what you could put in those certain areas. So let's just like split down the middle and say that we all had a moderate day training. I know some people had moderate, some had heavy, and some had light. There's just a lot in this room, but we'll go with moderate for now. So, what is a quarter of the moderate plate? What goes on there? Protein, very good, you're awake. So what are some sources of protein that could go in the quarter of the plate? And you can read, so good, so good. Okay, what happens if you decide that you're not going to have the protein? Like, for whatever reason, you either don't have it, you can't find it, you don't want it. So your plate today for dinner just has no protein on it. Everyone's like, that's terrible. Okay, any ideas why that might be terrible? Why do you, as elite athletes, need to have a quarter of your plate protein? Yes, everyone's doing this, which is so good. It's really important for rebuilding muscles, okay? Your muscles actually turn completely over every 3 months. So there's not really a muscle cell in your body that's more than 3 months old. Can you believe that? So it takes consistent protein intake and consistent training for you to have the muscles that you have. All right? So that's why consistent 1/4 of your plate protein. Okay, so let's call it a little more than a quarter of your plate on a moderate day is whole grains. What are some sources of whole grains? What kind of cereal? Whole grain cereal, very good. What kind of rice? Yeah, brown rice, maybe? What kind of pasta? 100% whole wheat pasta. Okay, who cares? Can we just have white Wonder Bread as elite athletes? Why? I can eat whatever I want. I'm an elite athlete. I'm 18 years old. I look awesome. Anyone? Why can't we just have white bread? Everyone's awake. That's so good. Okay, you can't just have white bread because what happens with white bread, there's 3 parts to a grain, all right? There's the outside, which is the bran. There's the very inside, which is the germ. And there's the kind of starchy inside part that's called the endosperm, all right? So if you have 100% whole grain, if you get the whole grain, you get all the vitamins and minerals that are in the bran. So you get all the fiber, all the B vitamins. You get everything that's in the germ, so the vitamin E that's really good for your hair and your skin and your nails. and you get the endosperm, which has all the carbohydrate in it, which is your fuel to do high intensity activity, okay? If you just have the white Wonder Bread, you're only getting the endosperm part. So they strip off all the B vitamins that are in the bran, they strip out all of the vitamin E that's in the germ, and you're left with the just straight up carbohydrate. Now that's good fuel, but it's not as nutrient dense as having like the whole grain, okay? So that's why we should eat whole grains. And then the rest of the plate up there is what? Vegetables. Okay, gotta back up a second. What happens if I looked at social media today and social media tells me that carbs are bad, so I took them all off my plate? As an elite athlete, why is that a problem? Is that even a problem? Yeah, that's your fuel. Okay, that's like not putting any gas in your car and trying to drive to downtown Chicago. It's ridiculous not to put any fuel. And if you don't, it's not like you get to say, hey coach, I'm under fuel today, I can't go. You have to go anyway. And what happens is you have to force your body to use another fuel. So you have to force your body to burn the muscle that you work so hard to gain, or you have to force your body to just like slow down so that you can burn a small amount of body fat for fuel. So cutting carbs off your plate is going to not only lead to a poor performance, but it's going to lead to you getting sick and hurt, okay? So that's why we can't cut the carbs off our plate. Okay, next part is vegetables, okay? What's the deal with vegetables? Why do elite athletes need vegetables? Vitamins, I heard somebody say fiber. It's really important that we get all the vitamins and minerals from these vegetables. For one, you guys are really hard on your bodies. You're hard on your bodies for a bunch of ways. You train really, really hard and you create a lot of oxidative stress in your body, so you need antioxidants in vegetables to calm all that stress down that you've created so that you can recover and heal and you're not sore for 5 or 6 days or something like that. That's an important reason to eat vegetables. Another reason that it's important to eat vegetables is because vegetables help turn protein into muscle. The vitamins and minerals, they're involved in the process. Those vitamins and minerals also help turn carbs into fuel. So it just makes everything in your body work a lot more efficiently. And that's not even, we're not even starting to talk about like the long-term health effects of including these things and avoiding disease and all those things. So important that we include vegetables. Okay. So we are going to go ahead. These are, some of the cafeteria pictures that you guys have, but I'm going to get you up now. I'm going to leave this up here, our moderate day plate, and we're going to have a couple of you come down and build the plate. So what I need is find a partner, and you both raise your hands. Come on down. Come on down. They don't even know if they're volunteering for it. We need... There we go, come on down. One more. Go on, yep, that's good. Okay. Perfect. Okay, does everybody know these people? No? Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Michael. I'm from Johns Creek, Georgia.
I'm Jack. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Charlie, Libertyville, Illinois.
Charlie, Peoria, Illinois.
Bryce, Cary, North Carolina.
I'm Clarissa, I'm from Morristown, New Jersey.
I'm Sean. I'm from Los Angeles.
I'm Tommy. I'm from Lubbock, Texas.
Wonderful. Okay, so you guys are going to get with your partners, and you are going to build a plate, a winning plate, based on the foods that are here on the ground. Okay, here's your plates. Alright, so you're going to need to try to build the plates fairly efficiently, because we got stuff to do. Once you're done building your plate, you're going to present it to the group with a song or rap that lasts no longer than 20 seconds. Are you ready to build your plates? 3, 2, 1, go! with your 15-second song or rap. Oh, no, that's part of the deal. Eagles Bump. Seconds. All right, we are ready. Who wants to go first? Oh no, everyone's gonna go. I know you. You go.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, don't forget to eat your carbs. Fill it up with protein, finish it up with veggies.
Alright, we're gonna do a slam poem. Milk. Good for the bones. Pepper. Good for you. Green beans. That's a veggie. Vitamins. Carrots. More veggies. Beef. That's protein. Blackberries. That's a fruit.
That was incredible.
We should have a little rhyme right here. So right here we got the proteins.
Pork and chicken, they're lean.
We got some grains.
Legumes and rice for your brains.
We got veggies and fruit, and they're colored.
And they also taste good, says your mother.
Alright, now all of these are gonna rhyme, but I'm gonna do my best. You got chickpeas and yams, so you'll play well. You got a plum, which is a fruit, which doesn't fall into the main three, but it's on the side. You got fish, which would not be my first choice, but I guess it counts, so that's good. Milk's got calcium, that's good for your bones. It's got carbs too, because it's chocolate. Did I cover it all? I did? Good job.
Can we give them another hand? That was incredible. Very good. All right, moving along. Okay, so this is something that first years sometimes like to talk about as well. Sometimes there's a lot of extra stress, a lot of extra pressure that comes along with being a first-year student at Northwestern. And so sometimes, have you guys ever talked to any other first-year colleagues, maybe at different schools or something, that have said like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed out that I ate like this whole pint of ice cream and I didn't even know it? People are like, yeah, I think I've read that before. Yeah, and so it's important that we know the difference between emotional eating and fueling, all right? So when you're about to think about if you're going to emotionally eat, think about, am I eating because I feel stressed or am I eating because I'm hungry? All right, so take a second, ask yourself that question, just one deep breath, take that question. Another question to ask yourself is, am I full? Am I already full and I'm eating on top of being full? Because that might be another sign that you're eating emotionally and not fueling your body. Do you sometimes think, or somebody sometimes thinks like that if I eat this, then I'm going to feel better? Because that would be kind of like emotional eating as well. Maybe you think about like, I'm going to reward myself for XYZ with food. So that can kind of be a gray area too, and that could be emotional eating as well. And so that's something that, everybody eats emotionally sometimes, but I think if it's something that happens a lot for you or for one of your teammates, it's important that you start to ask some questions about it, because it's not always going to be a very effective way to deal with stress, okay? So the first step is identify why you're eating. I'm eating because it's lunchtime. I'm eating because it's breakfast time. I'm eating because it's refuel, because it's pre-fuel, because it's dinner. These are all, very, healthy reasons to eat. Or I'm eating because I feel stressed. And if that's what's kind of going through a person's head, you might say, oh, there's actually probably some more effective ways to deal with stress. Like maybe I need to go for a walk and get some fresh air. Or maybe I need to read a book for fun. Or maybe I need to call a friend. Or maybe I need to listen to music or things like that. Maybe I need to watch an episode or 2 or 3 on Netflix, all right? These are really healthy ways to deal with stress. So that's just a really short bit on emotional eating, but if it's something that you or a teammate or a friend or whoever feels like they're going to struggle with in their first year, I would just tell you to reach out, because we have tons of dietitians and we can spend a lot more time educating you on this topic. What we really like people to do, if at all possible, is just slow down a little bit when they're fueling, so they can actually taste their food. I've talked to some people, and this happens to everybody, right? You sit down and you're eating something, but you're doing like 18 other things at once. You're studying, or you're looking at your phone, you're watching TV, or whatever's happening, and all of a sudden, like, the whole plate of food is gone, and you didn't even realize that it was eaten. All right, that's happened to everyone, I'm sure. So what we try to do is taste our food, recognize that we're fueling, focus on how the food tastes and how it looks and how it feels. And it's a lot easier to tell when you're hungry if there's not a whole lot of distractions. It's a lot easier to tell when you're full if there's not a whole lot of distractions. So it might be kind of an interesting thing for you to try a meal coming up. Try to eliminate all the distractions from the meal and just eat. And it might be really, really strange, because we're taught to do a million things at one time because it's efficient. So it might feel kind of strange, but it could be an interesting experiment. So you could try it once and see what you think. All right. Okay, and then we always get lots of questions about this topic. So we're going to talk about alcohol today, educate you guys on some of the benefits. There's not that many benefits really. Some of the drawbacks. So what we're gonna tell you is what happens when somebody drinks alcohol, what happens to their brain, what happens inside their liver, and what happens inside your belly. I think that it's really important that if you're gonna drink alcohol, you know what it's doing. I don't think you should put anything in your body that you don't know what is gonna happen. It's your vehicle that carries you through life. It's the only one you get. So I think it's good to make an educated decision. What happens if you drink alcohol? What happens to your performance? So Jason's going to talk about that. What about mixing alcohol with energy drinks? Because this is something that happens sometimes. What now is the physiological, what's going on in your body? And then how can you stay social with drinking moderate amount or no amount? So we'll touch on all those things. So first of all, let's talk about alcohol's effects on your brain. All right, alcohol actually reduces the oxygen supply to your brain, and so oxygen is really important for all cells, including the brain cells, to stay alive. And so if you drink alcohol regularly, it can cause death of some of your brain cells, which is not great if you're trying to be a genius. All right. Second, 3 to 4 drinks can affect the body and the brain for 2 to 3 days. So you have to consider that if you think that you're going to drink heavily, what do the next 2 to 3 days look like, and can you afford to not be at your best? Attention span is shorter after somebody binge drinks for 2 days, for 48 hours. Is it okay if your attention span is a little bit shorter? Is it cool with your sport? Is it cool with your class? Is it going to be fine or not? 2 consecutive nights of drinking affects the body and brain for 5 days. So if you think about like a Saturday-Sunday deal, or you think about a Friday and Saturday, now that's 5 days. That's kind of the whole rest of your school week that's being affected. So it's something to consider, that the effects are not just maybe that evening, but perhaps several days after that in terms of your ability to think. Yes. Yeah. Now then this one. I wasn't sure. Okay, he's coming next. That was my fault. Okay. So the other thing is, what happens when you need to metabolize alcohol? Because you put it in your body has to break it down so that you can pee out the parts that need to be peed out. So what happens is your body is like, as soon as alcohol gets in it, it really wants to break this alcohol down as efficiently as possible. So, especially your liver. Your liver does a lot of things in your body, including it stores carbohydrate, and you use that carbohydrate for fuel when you're doing your activity. When you drink, the liver shuts down all other processes besides breaking down that alcohol. That's the most important thing for your liver to be doing at that time. So all the other things that the liver does, stop. So what can happen is it can cause low blood sugar, because the liver actually puts sugar back into the blood so that you can feed your brain and think and do all these things. But if the liver's being shut down because you're processing alcohol, you could get low blood sugar. Low blood sugar is important for fueling your brain, it's important for fueling your muscles, it's important for keeping your muscles as strong as they are versus breaking them down. It decreases your ability to use fat as fuel during exercise. That's one of the liver's jobs, and liver can't do that job if it is processing alcohol. Okay, so the excessive alcohol consumption, so what is that? I think it's really important to understand what is that. So a moderate amount of alcohol is 1 drink for females and 2 drinks for males in a day. All right, so anything above that is really, I mean, by the textbook definition, binge drinking. So it sounds very dramatic, but 3 drinks, if you're a guy, is binge drinking. All right, so it's important that we know what that is. So 1 can of beer is 1 drink, right? 1 shot is 1 drink. And so if you get a drink that has multiple shots in it, then that would be multiple drinks, even though it's still in 1 glass. Does that make sense? Yes, okay. A wine glass, wine is 5 ounces. So and that's not filling the wine all the way to the top. So it's important to know that there can often be more than 1 drink in 1 glass. So that's just something to consider. Okay.
Alright, before we finish this, let's just stand up. I know it's like 7:35, everyone's tired. Let's take a little midway break, stand up, feel good about yourself. Give the person to next to you a high five, whatever you want to do, give them a hug. Let's roll our necks around. Forget about it. We're not standing up, you can stand up here now, for sure. You guys, I know you just got done practice, you guys can stand up too, it's alright. Yep. I know it's not that fatiguing. We're all about stress management in many ways. Standing up is not that stressful. Alright, let's take a couple deep breaths, so stay up, stay up. I'm sure many of you guys have learned how to breathe, right? Who knows how to breathe in here? Everybody knows how to breathe? Alright, let's work with me here. Jose, you can stand up too. I know you're right. Bardia? Yep, cool. I know your name, so I'm gonna call you out. Cool. Alright, some deep breaths. So when we breathe in, we're gonna breathe in through our nose. We're gonna fill up our bellies with air, right? So let's leave our right hand on our belly. We're gonna push our stomach out as far as we can. And then we're gonna breathe out for 6. So we'll breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Get some oxygen to your body. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Oxygen's good. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Everyone feel better now? Good. You can sit down. I know it's hard to do, but let's just keep your phones away for a little bit. All right. There's no worries. Everyone that you know is here, right? Okay. All right. So talking about performance and alcohol, these slides are kind of leading us into some of the areas that I feel like I could provide some useful input, and obviously Katie's done an amazing job putting all this together, and I'm just hopefully providing some insights into and how it's going to affect you on the field, on the court, on the strip, whatever, in the pool, whatever. Fencing? Yeah, see? I know some of these sports. So really making sure that you're performing at your best. So in this first box, we're decreasing testosterone. That's a big piece to what we're trying to manage is how your body's growing. And as Katie mentioned,